And then when you're evangelizing, obviously emotion is a really critical point of that. You can't evangelize without it. It has to be personal. And that leads us really to the idea of reward. Now, what I mean by that is that we're all human, we all have needs, and part of our motivation in life is having those needs met. And I come back to, and I'm sure most marketers are familiar with it, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I guess you all nod if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So yes, once all your physiological needs are met, there are higher needs that we all want to have met. And a lot of these are to do with belonging and sharing and spontaneity and individualism and all of these things. And all of these things social media can really help deliver. But it's more than that. I think the individual needs to be rewarded and to feel the benefits of that. But also, obviously, we're in business, so where is the reward for the business, for the corporation? And I think that's where you start to see some real benefits. So, for example, if you can start to find people who really are benefiting from social media on a personal level, they're being able to connect better, do their job better, share better, learn more, that's really, really powerful. And if you can find the spot where that meets with something that benefits the business, that's great. So, for example, an example of that I've seen in my work is where social media has been used for thought leadership. So it's people have been given the freedom, been given the opportunity to start to share what it is that they know, what it is that they're good at. That rewards them as an individual because they're getting recognition for what they know, they're furthering their knowledge, it's stimulating to them, but also it benefits the organisation too because they've got these good people who not only know stuff, but they're learning new stuff all the time and sharing it and refining their thoughts. So that's a good example of it. And that's the cycle, that's the way it goes round. So we move on to the next slide. I'm going to leave you with some sort of principles of social evangelism. So hopefully some things that you can take away and use in your organisations and find it hopefully useful for just starting to spread the word about social media, helping develop that social mindset and really making it work for your organisation because sooner or later that mindset's going to have to happen. I've also thrown in a commandment just because I'm holding the microphone and I can. So principle one is to know that vision and share that vision. It's your starting point and you can't go anywhere without it. So this comes back to what I said before about really understanding what it is that you're trying to achieve, have achieved, could achieve. And there's a bit of aspiration in there as well, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think the key message as well when you're evangelizing is what's in it for us. As an organization or as a team or as a community, what's in it for us? That's what people want to know. And I think once you can articulate that, then you've made a start. Then the next one is to live it. You have to live it to be proof of it. So it's no good talking about it. You've got to, actions speak louder than words. And I think if you can act like a believer and you can really show something worth emulating, something worth evangelizing, showing it working for yourself, that's where it can be really quite powerful. It would be foolish to suggest that you can evangelize an entire organization or an entire community. That's never going to happen. And actually, I would say that's a very, very healthy thing. And you're also going to have crises of confidence, crises of faith. That happens, that's really, really natural. I've just had one in terms of my social media use about really questioning, hang on a minute, all these things I thought were true, I'm not sure they are anymore. And I had to take a step back and work through it, and I'm glad that happened. That's really, really natural, and it's really, really healthy. So, bear in mind, that's going to happen, but what you get out of it is something really good, because it's an opportunity just to reassess what's working. And we've already talked about how fast things are changing. This probably will happen a lot, but that's a good thing, and we shouldn't fear it. I think detractors are a really good thing, because they remind us of what we're trying to do. And it also creates, a feedback loop as well. So if people don't believe or they refuse to believe, well, why is that? What can we learn from that? What are their barriers? And maybe the point here is not trying to convert them, but just to understand what are the reasons against, and just to remind us of what we're doing. So I think that's a pretty good thing, actually. We shouldn't worry about it. I think detractors remind us of what we're trying to achieve, and also the fact that social is not everything. It's really, really important. it is everywhere, but it's not everything. There are other ways as well. But the other thing as well to think about, I think, is scale too. So no, you're not going to convert everybody, but if you can evangelize well and convert just one or two other people who themselves can go on to become your social evangelist, then that's really, really powerful. And I think that in reality is the way it would work in many organizations. So think of it on that basis. And then 5 is making it personal. It's got to be really personal because, you know, social is all about people. I believe that organizations are not social, brands are not social, people are social. And that's the way we've got to look at it, and that's why I talk about a social mindset. And that might mean that not everybody is using social media actively, but they need to be aware of what it is about it that's important to your organization and what possibilities it brings. And so from that point of view, it needs to be really about the people. More than that, it has to be about the personal benefits. So how does it personally benefit you? It's a bit like we talked about in the Maslow hierarchy of needs, and then how can it benefit the organisation? So the last, my commandment is go forth and evangelise. It's I couldn't resist it, but you know, really, I think there is also always good stuff that we can start to share, and I think so long as we accept we don't know everything, we're still learning, but let's look at all the good stuff that's happening and that we can really hold up and say this is what we can learn from, and the bad stuff too, I guess. You know, there will always be mistakes, there will always be things that we can learn from there. But really, it's having the faith in what it can do for you and your organisation and going and spreading the word. Thank you.